Thank you very much. What I'm going to talk about today is, so I am Richard Campbell, and we have a small boutique mango orchard in Homestead called Mango Man Homestead. And we've done this I've worked with mangoes throughout my whole career, plant collector for Fairchild Garden, been original consultant for Mango Board when Mango Board started before Nathalia was born. And no, not maybe not, but pretty close. So it's been a long, long time that I've worked with mangoes. And I started growing mangoes in a boutique orchard about 15 years ago. And the whole idea of what we try to do is over my career, the mango industry has completely pivoted because my father was at University of Florida and worked and took the original budwood to most of the export industries within this hemisphere. So in our house, it was always explained that one day the mango would become a commodity. I don't think he ever thought they would form a mango board to really prove that it's a commodity, but it is a commodity. And when the mango became a commodity, it changed everything for the Florida mango industry. Right. So everything started to change, and then Hurricane Andrew hit. When Hurricane Andrew hit, it really changed. Right. And the Florida mango industry had to pivot completely in order to survive. So in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, but everything that we do in a boutique mango orchard is to avoid being considered a commodity. All right. So we do everything to not look like the commoditized mango that you would see in a grocery store, because we can do things that the industry can't do. So people often say to me, I said, aren't you afraid of competition from overseas or anything else? Absolutely not. Because we can all do it better here in Florida than anyone can do it anywhere else, right? And that's not a secret. Everyone in Mango Board's heard me say that before, so it's okay. They're not going to throw me out or anything like that. So what we're going to talk about is some of the new cultivars that we've actually created over the last 20 years and how those things fit into a boutique mango orchard. Some of these things also have potential to go on and be important varieties that can be grown for export industries and all that. I'm not saying they won't be, but that was never our objective. That was never my objective, was to create something that could be grown on thousands and thousands of acres. That's not what I was trying to do. Our orchard is literally an acre and a quarter in Homestead, Florida. And we do on-porch sales, we do products, and we do mail order, and we do everything above, and we waste nothing. So we do dried mangoes, we do mango juices, we do jams, we do jellies, we do goat yoga. Not really, although we thought about it. Don't, I might do it. You never know. One of the real important things that we were trying to do in creating mangoes for the future and for our boutique operation was we needed mangoes that flowered without any problem. So the climate has changed. We've seen that here in this meeting. We have less chilling hours. The varieties selected a long time ago in Florida no longer work. They don't bloom consistently. So we wanted mangoes that bloomed without any sort of a need for induction. We wanted disease tolerance. We needed to have high density adaptation. So I grow about 400 trees on an acre. It's actually less than an acre, and I have over 400 trees. I keep my trees 12 feet tall, very, very thin and I need to have things that are high density or some sort of a scion rootstock combination that will work. And above all, we select it for flavor. Okay. If it doesn't taste good, it doesn't have room in my orchard because it just doesn't work. So another big point that we did is we had to create mangoes that were adapted to agrochemical systems. We needed things that were sustainable. We needed things that we could grow. We could do. We like to say we're better than organic. Organic is just a certification. It's not a sustainability. It's not a real. I mean, there's a lot of cheating goes on in organics. There's no cheating goes on when you grow a little small orchard because you have to do everything right because that's the only way to do it. Right. So we're beyond organics. We're sustainable and we're doing it the way we know how to do it. So, the other big point about all of our trees is this right here. They have to be able, we're not growing mango trees. I need mango bushes. All right. Mango bush it's precocious, it produces heavy, I can manage it, I have choices. If I have a tree that's 40 feet tall, there's only one thing that needs to happen to a 40-foot tall mango tree in my situation, and it gets cut down and removed because I don't have room for that. Doesn't work. I have to have something that I can keep small and productive. And again, I have choices that I can make. I kid around. I have another job. My main job, I work for one of the biggest mango companies that imports mangoes into the United States. And I manage about 15,000 hectares or 15,000 acres of mangoes in Mexico. And there's more horticulture on my acre and a quarter than there are in 15,000 acres in Mexico that I manage. Okay. Because every single tree I have to prune, take care of, do all that and make every decision. There's no tree in my orchard that does not have decisions made about it daily. So let's talk about some specific varieties. And by the way, the varieties I'm mentioning, we have over 120 varieties in our orchard. That's just the ones that are our main varieties. But I'm just going to mention some of the ones that absolutely and totally work day in, day out, and that over the last 20 years, we've proven that will work for us. All right. So, I went the wrong way. So first of all, I want to say Angie. Okay. We selected Angie about 25 years ago, and it has a fruit that is 700 grams, which is a nice size, pound and a half, a good size fruit. The tree is small stature. It has an Alfonso flavor. You're going to see me, when I talk about flavors of mangoes, I don't talk about it's sweet. It's all of our mangoes are sweet. Okay. All of our mangoes are fiberless. All of our mangoes meet those criteria. So when you hear me talk about flavor, I'm going to talk about flavor types. Alfonso is what we use to substitute for, Angie is what we use to substitute for Alfonso. Alfonso is one of the greatest flavored mangoes in the world that has a following for our friends from India. So for us to do directed marketing to Indian mango customers in the United States that buy our fruit, I need to have a fruit that tastes like an Alfonso. So Angie they say, do you have Alfonso? I say, no, but I have something better. They don't believe me because they're Indians and they know more about mangoes they've forgotten more about mangoes than I could ever know. I'm saying that a little tongue in cheek, but it is true. They know a lot about mangoes, right? But I know that they can't get an Alfonso imported in the United States that tastes as good as the Angie that I can grow in Homestead. So that's why this works. It's a beautiful fruit. It's disease tolerant. It's productive. When I say productive, I can produce about 150 fruit per tree. That's what I try to do. Try to get about 150 fruit per tree. And more is better, but that's a nice amount of fruit that I can do, and it has a great shelf life. Now, when I say shelf life, these are not going into a modern cold chain. These fruit go into we pick them, we keep them at room temperature with fans at ambient temperature, and we market them that way. And that's why our fruit are sweeter. And again, no offense to commercial handling of mangoes and any post-harvest people out there, Jeff Breck, but all you guys do is hold the shelf life. You keep the fruit so that it can make it to market, but you don't make it taste better. All right. So that's all I'm going to say about, but don't hate me for saying it. It's because I know what you guys have to do, but I am trying to keep my fruit at the best flavor I can. All right. Carioca. Carioca is a fairly new one of our selections. And Carioca, by the way, is a mango from a Carioca is a person native to Rio de And this mango tastes like Rio de Janeiro. All right. It's citrus, pineapple, coconut, the whole thing. And it is an incredible flavored mango, and it's a small stature tree. It's consistently productive. It does about 100 pounds per tree. It's disease tolerant. No one eats this mango and doesn't want to pay any amount of money. All right. This flavor will blow your mind. And that's what we grow there. Things that people just say, oh my God, I have to have that. I cannot live without that fruit. And so this is one of the fruit that has now found a very strong place in our orchard. Another one that fits that same criteria that that's fruiting right now in our orchard is King Lion. King Lion is actually named for a rapper who did a video during COVID in our orchard. But that's a side story. But anyway, so this has the parents of this mango came out of North India and Myanmar, and that's what the flavor that it has. So, which is in Florida, one of the things I'll say for our boutique orchards, Myanmar is kind of the gold standard in flavor that we like. That's a flavor that works very well. Myanmar being on the road between India and Thailand, and it has that citrusy, excellent flavor that Floridians like. And the tree is productive. It's disease tolerant. This mango is some of the top retail super tasters for the chain stores have identified this mango as being the overall of all the varieties that we have in our orchard to be the most universally acceptable to consumers. And I will tell you, I've never met anyone who ever tasted a King Lion who didn't love it. It is that good. And it fits very well in our orchard. Diamond, a little more controversial. We want to go to controversial mangoes, which as many of you all know, I like to be controversial. Diamond was one we selected, and it's a small stature tree. It's very productive. It is, the flavor speaks to Borneo. That's a polite way to say it tastes like durians. Okay, so durian is a flavor that most people are afraid of, that you shouldn't be afraid of. There's only one thing you're afraid of in a boutique mango orchard, and that is being boring. Okay, being generic and boring will put you out of business. Being controversial will make people come to your doorstep and buy your mangoes. Okay, so online, Diamond gets a bad rap because people handle it incorrectly. If you grow, store, and ripen this fruit in the right way, it has one of the most sophisticated, complex flavors that you've ever seen. And the tree is no taller than this, and I can put 150 fruit on a tree like that, year in, year out. They hang there like jewels, and you can milk them like a cow. which is a great thing, right? If you can just go to when I say milk them like a cow, I mean, you don't have to pick them all at once. They stay on the tree and you can go out there. I can store them on the tree like an avocado, like a Hass avocado. You go out and pick them when you need them. And that's a huge, huge selling point for this variety. It's also it's disease tolerant and it has a very good shelf life. But you never want to cool that fruit. You put that fruit under cold conditions and you change the flavor and you get something very scary. Okay. Gem. Now, Gem is one that it's about 750 grams and it's a combination of citrus, peach, and Jolly Rancher candy. All right. I thought I misspelled Rancher, but I didn't. Okay. Jolly Rancher candy. Most of you guys are too young to know what Jolly Rancher candy means, but Jolly Rancher candies were those little candies that we used to suck on that they were so sweet and they'd stick inside your mouth and pull the skin off the inside of your mouth, like that when we were kids. Anyway, it's what this mango tastes like. It has one of the highest bricks of any of the mangoes we grow. It's very firm, disease tolerant, and it has a very long shelf life. And it's very pretty too. This is a mango that people all think it's a mango. I went and they think it's fake when they see it on our porch. Okay, Nebula is this is one of our celestial series, and it's one that's a relative. For those of you who are connoisseurs of baking shows on TV, and when you bake something that is like a cake, but you're making it look like a full breakfast, like what do they call it? A British breakfast or something. So it's where you bake something to taste like something, to look like something that it's not. All right. That's what Nebula is. This is actually a Tommy Atkins seedling, but the other parent is Southeast Asian. So this is a sweet tart flavor in a Tommy skin. And when you eat it, your brain gets very confused very quickly, but it's very, very nice. Okay. What we particularly love about this is we grow this mango specifically on Piva rootstock. And Piva rootstock is a dwarfing rootstock, but it only dwarfs certain varieties in certain ways. Part of the thing that I didn't mention, but we work a lot on getting rootstocks in order to keep our trees the right size. And Nebula grown on Piva never gets any taller than this and is very productive. And it's an excellent variety and is quite disease tolerant too. The last one, which is Sunny here. And Sunny best way to describe the flavor is it's a day at the beach. Okay. And it's Caribbean flavor, a lot of pineapple, a lot of citrus and coconut. It's a medium-sized tree, about 200 pounds per tree, and it's consistent, disease tolerant, and a good shelf life. And okay. Now, the only other thing I'd like to add, because I know I'm running out of time, is many of these varieties make good candidates for growing in the warm tropics, because again, they bloom without almost any cold. So I always have multiple blooms throughout the year, 3 or 4 blooms every year, which is again a good thing for our situation in a boutique orchard. But that's also what happens now in commercial operations all over the world, because we don't get consistent cold almost anywhere in the world anymore. And there's many, many more varieties and interspecific hybrids, but we're not going to talk about those. And I believe that's it. So thank you very much.
We have time for a couple of questions. For our speakers, please repeat the questions through the microphone if we have any in the room.
Sorry. The Indian name for king lion? No, I don't have an Indian name for King Lion. King Lion is literally named for a rapper. It's King Lion the rapper with pressure bus pipe. The video. I'll show you the video. But anyway, so I don't know what the are you thinking of Kesar? No, that's no, but it does it's actually a Glen seedling. But anyway. All right. So the first question is, when I talk about disease tolerance, do I mean any specific disease? Not really, but the main diseases that we worry about is powdery mildew, anthracnose, are my two things. I can control everything else. And mainly I'm talking about well, I also am talking about scab, although I don't mind scab damage on my fruit because again, we can explain to the consumer what that means. But that's what I really mean are fruit that will set a crop without me having to go to Herculean efforts in order to produce them. So the question is, are all the things when I talk about short stature varieties, are they scion dwarfs or are they rootstock dwarfs? There's some combination in between. And also, I was trained in apples and I prune every day, all day. That's one of my favorite things to do in the world. So if I can't maintain, the biggest thing you have to do is in order to fit in our orchard where I need small stature trees, is they have to be able to produce fruit consistently at that size. Whether I'm pruning them, whether I'm maintaining the size with pruning, rootstock, or scion, they have to be able to fruit when they're 12 feet tall. Because a Hayden, it doesn't matter because we don't have consistent dwarfing in rootstocks. And a Hayden, you can't keep that small and keep it producing for a long period of time. So these are trees that I can keep at that size throughout their life, at least throughout so far throughout my life. And many people, by the way, have always told me that the tree will eventually win. My dad used to tell me that the tree will actually beat you, son, but it's not the reason to give up. Don't give up just because the tree is probably going to beat you. All right. Because that's the struggle of life, right? You give up, it's the way it is.
Thank you so much. So I do see that there are a few questions that we were not able to get through online. Please note that the agenda that we shared has the email of our speakers, and you guys are free to email Dr. Campbell with any questions that you may have.